Good evening. I would like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Fort Vancouver Regional Library Board of Trustees. And Christy Morgan, our chair, is excused this evening, and Olga is joining us online, and hopefully Vic will be joining us online soon. I'd like to call the meeting to order now. And is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. Seconded.
Is there any further discussion about the agenda? Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Marianne Duncan Cole,
Aye.
Penny Love Hensley,
Aye.
Marie Coffey, Olga Hodges,
Aye.
and I just got word from Vikram that he will not be with us tonight.
Thank you.
And then Megan Dugan.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. I don't have any announcements to begin, so we will start public comment. We have 1 hour for this portion of the meeting. Each speaker will have 2 minutes and it's timed. Please address your comments to the board. Be respectful of one another. We don't want to have you commenting, clapping, or otherwise interrupting the board proceedings, or you may be asked to leave. So thank you. And with that, we will call up 2 names.
Online comments. Catherine Gardner.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Gardner, pronoun she, her, and I'm a resident of Vancouver. There is something within our libraries for everyone within our communities. That said, that does not mean that all materials or events offered by a library, such as Fort Vancouver Regional Library, need appeal to nor be utilized by every member of a community. The FVRL collection policy, reaffirmed in February of this year by this board, states that, quote, materials will not be restricted, sequestered, altered, or labeled because of controversy about the author or the subject matter, and that the board considers materials selected under this policy to be constitutionally protected. The collection policy also clearly states that, quote, FVRL does not stand in place of the parent. Parents and guardians have the responsibility to guide and direct the reading, listening, and viewing choices. And pretend I'm saying this next part in bold, underline, and italics, of their own minor children. Finally, quote, individual items, which in and of themselves may be controversial or offensive to some patrons or staff, may be selected for the collection if their inclusion will contribute to the range of viewpoints in the collection as a whole. So to sum up, if an item within the collection does not appeal to you, you don't have to utilize it. If an event offered by the library does not appeal to you, you don't have to attend it. If you don't want your family accessing items or attending events, it's up to you to parent your children. The library isn't here just to cater to your sensibilities. If you fail to guide your children from items you'd rather they not see, that's your failing, not the library's. Just because it isn't for you doesn't mean that it's not vital for someone else. Keep the library truly safe and strong for all by keeping its collection broad, representative, and uncensored. Thank you.
Gabrielle Gilbert.
Thank you. The individuals who come into this space to speak about perpetrators in an attempt to smear minority communities are shameful in their hypocrisy and know full well that the highest percentage of abuse is through the hands of family members and trusted family friends. Clean your own house. Your Fox outrage, your ignorance, and attempts to highlight this false narrative is disrespectful and triggering to individuals who have survived childhood sexual abuse. Our narrative of survival will not be hijacked by bigots and fascists who intend to inflict harm on the LGBTQ plus community. As survivors, we own our narrative, not you. Opposing fascist ideologies, groups, and individuals is the work for everyone, because when they come for one, they come for all. Stand up to bigotry in order to represent an entire community. the book bans, the erasing and minimalizing of communities, the attacks motivated by homophobic and racist politics, anti-trans, and a desire to remove people that they don't like from public life. The rights and respect of the LGBTQ plus people is in our midst is not up for debate. The rights of the Jewish community are not up for debate. The rights of the Black community are not up for debate, and the rights of the Latino and Hispanic community are not up for debate. I find it tragic that my own representation coming out of Klickitat puts literally a green light to some of this that is coming across these airways. And we will stand in solidarity, and we will continue to fight for the rights of all people, for their dignity and for their sense of well-being and for their safety and for their community. I thank you for this time.
Wendy Moose. Oh, that worked.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Good evening, and thank you for adding me to the list to speak tonight. My name is Wendy, pronouns she, her. I would like to ask the board, why are you letting this farce continue? Is it customary to have people making comments about something that doesn't even take place anymore? Why are you allowing certain people to make explicitly sexual speeches in a board meeting? Sometimes I see children present at meetings, but they still graphically explain sexual activity that they do not want children to be exposed to, which makes no sense. They are hypocrites, but why are you allowing them to do it? I've heard more sexually explicit comments from some people giving speeches in front of the board in the past 9 months that would ever have happened at a drag queen story hour. Are you all okay with giving them a platform to spread their propaganda? If you don't stop it, are you just as guilty? You are helping extremists in our area spread fascist ideology about vulnerable populations. When you do not stop them or say it's wrong, you are choosing their side. Why can you not stop them from doing this? Again, it's a waste of time and resources. You're supposed to represent and serve everyone, not just the extremist groups spewing their sexual obsessions and inappropriate materials at every meeting. Thank you.
Now we are at the in-person comments. Carol, Keon, and Bev Jones.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Dr. Carol Keon, a retired university professor, and I am a member of the Friends of Battleground Library. I would like to encourage you, the Board of Trustees, to select an executive director who embraces and is willing to enforce the concept of inclusivity so that every person, regardless of race, religion, political affiliation, or sexual orientation, feels welcome, comfortable, and safe in FVRL libraries. Furthermore, I urge you to select a candidate who believes that censorship by banning books is incompatible with democracy and has no place in a public library district. Thank you.
Welcome to Battleground. Thank you for allowing me a few minutes, a few words today. My name is Bev Jones, and I am a member of the Friends of the Battleground Library. I'm a book whisperer and Battleground's #1 cheerleader. I believe in books for all, for everyone to have the right to read what they choose. My request for you, the Board of Trustees, is to hire an executive director who has an open, inclusive mindset, with the overall goal of this board to protect our right to read what we choose and to make the library a safe space for all. Thank you.
Louise Tucker and Margot Logan.
Get shorter and shorter. My name is Louise Tucker and I live about a mile north of here. I also belong to the Friends here. I'm here to support our homegrown library, hometown library, the staff and all the libraries in our wonderful district. I was alarmed to hear of libraries closing in some states. How appalling. I can't imagine closing down this library after so many community members worked so hard and so long for it. My first 6 years of schooling were at a one-room school, the old Pleasant Valley School. Our library was a couple of shelves in the cloakroom. We couldn't wait until the bookmobile showed up. I raised 3 boys. One has dyslexia. Persistently reading car magazines from the library, especially about hot rods, is what helped him overcome his handicap. He's very successful today. Another son who was fascinated with history, imagine that, soaked in books on the Civil War. I understand there's a movement to censor books. Let's be careful that we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Most people get emotionally upset because of fear. What is the fear regarding libraries? What is the fear about homosexuality? It's not catching. It's here, always has been, and always will be. When I was in junior high here in Battleground, there were 2 boys in my class who were different. And because they had a different body language and voices, they were picked on unmercifully. I had little understanding of homosexuality then. My father had the attitude that if you didn't talk about an undesirable situation, it didn't exist. I could have asked Mom, but I didn't. If my school friends and I had turned to okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Margot Logan. I'm in Portland. I'm right over the bridge. I have my library card. I contribute a lot of money to the tax base in Clark County. And tonight, well, I've been donating books and I wanted to donate another one. And I checked and you have the digital form of this book, but not the paperback. And it's the Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America. I've gone and seen Oppenheimer twice now, and because I'm a U.S. Army intelligence brat, my dad was a photo interpreter who worked with CIA in the 60s in West Germany. So I'm very tuned into history. And so this popped up because whenever I see a movie, I wonder, okay, what else about the movie? There must be some reason the movie comes out now. And so as I read Operation Paperclip, it's answering some questions, not only about that, but my family history, since it was all secret and everything. I didn't even know Dad worked with CIA until I was in high school, and I made a guess before he died. And then he told me, yeah, Don was CIA. His daughter was a good friend with me in Germany. So I love the library. Now that I have my card, I've been going to all of them, especially the one in the Vancouver Mall, getting DVDs. And I'm looking at the young teens books. And so I picked one up here. So I'm just kind of going through and going, okay, what are teens able to read? And so I'm looking into all that, doing my research. But I have to say it's a lovely library. And thank you for this a monthly comment time. I mean, it's like you're really building community here, even as people are kind of fighting each other. Then there's these great stories. And so this might be a new way to go. So thank you very much.
Anna, and then Tiffany.
Thank you, board, for allowing a opportunity to address the board. And I'm a dinosaur. This is a spaceship. I think I can manage. I want to thank you who have not promoted another drag queen story hour. My concern continues to be for children's safety and to protect the innocence of youth. It has never been in the child's best interest to promote publicly funded gender confusion stories to children in the library. Each month, I suggest arranging materials into subject matter and age-appropriate categories for the well-being of each individual's choice. Doing so would create an inclusive and welcoming environment for library visitors to choose subjects and materials of their own personal preferences. I am not, nor have never suggested banning books. This nation is still a nation where freedom of choice exists. I am promoting consideration for those who are not interested in participating in the currently politically popular agenda, emphasizing, and I don't know all the alphabet, I'll just call it counterculture ideals. Each month I write to the board and attend monthly meetings. There has never been a response from the board to any concerns I have addressed to the board. I hope you will continue to exercise good judgment in making decisions concerning these issues. Thank you.
Justin Allen and Philip Cronenbusch.
Good evening, board. My name is Tiffany Heine, and this is my 8th meeting that I've attended. I wanted to say I support your diligence in doing your public service. I wanted to share a quote from Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who said, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act." Also, I think we would all agree, both sides of the aisle would agree. In Proverbs 31:8-9, it says, "Speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. Speak up for the poor and the helpless and see that they get justice." The travesty is that the political and industrial forces across the political spectrum use the arrogance of a few and the fear of many to manipulate various situations for their own selfish goals. I've been to these meetings several times, and if I am considered a fascist or a hypocrite because I want to protect the welfare of children, then so be it. Board, please take into consideration the lives of children who cannot speak for themselves. It's very important that there are people who understand that the protection of children is for all our sakes. It's all our duty to protect our children in our community. Thank you.
I don't know, in the 1930s, protecting kids meant keeping Black people out of white spaces. In the 50s, it was about getting Mexicans back over the border. In the 70s and 80s, we had the gay panics where gay men were a threat because HIV might get everywhere. Then in the 2000s, we were concerned about gay marriage. And currently, over the last 3 or 4 years, trans people are the new demon we must all be concerned about to protect the children. This is also my 9th meeting, because we're September, right? This is all getting a bit weird for me. I started showing up here in January, and I've heard a wide variety of ahistorical, afactual, and something or other things from a wide variety of people coming to these meetings. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. It's been 4 years since the alleged offense happened. I've heard about people eating bananas at nightclubs like 9 times. Let's just have a drag queen story hour. Have some cameras pointing away from the kids towards the person who's fully clothed in so much makeup and various bras and stuff that taking it off takes 45 minutes to an hour. and put this whole thing to bed. I would love to free up one more day a month. I'm sure all of y'all would love to have less of this stuff happen. And so let's just have a drag queen story hour. Get someone that's okay being recorded because, you know, I'm sure they'd love the advertising. And just put this to bed. This is 4 years of this. I don't think a single person on this board was actually around when this stuff happened back in 2019. And frankly, it's a little ridiculous, isn't it? This entire once a month rigmarole, and let's just do it. What's the worst that could happen? Could like a bunch of angry men show up trying to take pictures of kids telling their parents are sex predators? Because I think that's what happened last time. And the real threat to children is stuff like that happening and not people in dresses reading books to kids, because it's the library's all about, reading books to everybody. And I'd like to see one community that has been denied that ability to read to kids have that freedom once again. Thank you.
Randy Schmidt.
Phil Cronos, Orchards. I just want to say, as you can see, heard in previous meetings and in this meeting already, that basically there's a lot of people have suggested that we should maybe stop coming and speaking out. Obviously, isn't that very interesting how that's kind of banning speech and banning books? And I'm glad the board doesn't feel that way, I believe, and that they should hear all points of view. The second thing is that it would be nice if people would understand who come to the board and make comments that they make not at us or any, as you probably could imagine, any particular group, but make them to the board to make the library better. And basically, ultimately, we're here for protection of children and that concern for that. And we thank you for thinking about that.
Thank you for letting us speak. I'm here to ask you again, as I've been for 3 or 4 years, could you please pass a actual policy that would ban Drag Queen Story Hour? We all know that you may not have a Drag Queen Story Hour planned right now, but all it takes is a new board in 2 more years, and we would have another event as that. You ask, why do we push for this? Well, we had a whistleblower recently from who actually wrote an article in the Free Press. Her name was Jamie Reed. I can't read the whole thing because I got less than a minute and a half left. But in essence, she goes on to document how this trans movement in our young people today is something that is a social contagion. She is not a conservative. She is somebody who would consider herself to be very woke and gender friendly and actually part of that crowd. But yet she does write that the center's working assumption, the center that she worked at was a transgender center in St. Louis Children's Hospital, that the center's working assumption was that the earlier you treat a child with gender dysphoria, the more anguish you can prevent later on. She said she assumed that there was data that backed this up and ended up finding out there's not. Her end of article quote is, I left the clinic in November of last year, and by the time I departed, I was certain that the way the American medical system was treating these patients, meaning transgender, gender dysphoria teenagers, is opposite of the promise we make to do no harm. Instead, we are permanently harming the vulnerable patients we care. This isn't somebody from the fascist right wing, as all the people who called us today. This is somebody who cares about these children and wants to do what's right for them. This little graph is showing the exponential growth in the transgender dysphoria, transgender confused youth of today. It's not something that is a few men who have this issue as we saw 80 years ago. It's now 10% of our young girls have this issue. And the goal of a Drag Queen Story Hour, time, okay.
Vice Chair Dugan, that is the end of our registered public comments.
Hello. Okay. Thank you. That was all of our public comments for people that have signed up. We do have some additional time. So if there's anyone in the audience that did not sign up that would like to speak, yes, please come up and just tell us your name.
Good evening, board. My name is Eunice Ingermanson. My pronouns are she, her, and this is my home library. although my interaction with the library system is mainly through the app. My latest reading was a book by Lisa C. called Island of Sea Women. One of the main things that this book talks about is a Jeju Island uprising. In the 7 years and 7 months of violent clashes between the South Korean government and the islanders of Jeju, South Korea, it is estimated that 60 to 80,000 people died. It was a prolonged and horrific tragedy that left no one on the island untouched. The whole subject was buried under censorship and repression for years and years. And I, who grew up in Korea a few years after, knew nothing about it. The Island of Sea Women, published in 2021, is the only the second novel written that deals with the subject. When the first novel on this uprising was written a few decades ago, the author was arrested and tortured. As I was reading this book, my heart grieved and wept for the main characters, two sea women, best friends, living through the wildfire of violence that gripped the island on opposite sides of this prolonged conflict. I am so thankful for books that expose what has been hidden and make us uncomfortable, so injustice, pain, loss, and evil can be shown for what they are, and truth can be established, and healing can take place. And I so appreciate the role of the library in facilitating the search for the truth. Thank you so much.
Okay, Nick Nilsson, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I had a little trouble getting on, so I appreciate you being patient with me. I'm a recent resident to the Goldendale area, and I just wanted to share with the entire board and all the audience what an absolute gem the Goldendale Library has turned out to be. I'm in there 2 or 3 times a week. I'm a member, of course. It's in this depressed little town as it can be sometimes. It's so nice to see such a shining star of a facility, being a Carnegie Library and all. And I really appreciate the fact that it's there. And I would hate to see anything negative happen to the library for any reason, especially with all the recent kerfuffle with the things going on, the social issues going on related to libraries, which baffle me honestly, because it's the most low-tech way of learning information that we have, and yet everybody is so wound up about what can happen to their kids or what they could see there. And I could find 100 books in that library that I don't agree with or don't like, but it's not about me. That's selfish. The fact that it's there and the information is available, and that I have the freedom to choose or not to choose to go in there. And the same, if you don't want your kids to go see a drag queen story or God forbid, whatever is going to go on in the library, then don't send them. And given that it is a low tech medium, I'd be a lot more concerned, at least with my grandkids, because they're at that impressionable age now, what they can find on their phones, what they can find on TV. The library pales in comparison to what information, good, bad, or otherwise, is available to anybody these days. So to me, the library system, especially the Fort Vancouver regional system, is fantastic. I love it. I do not want anything ever to happen to it or any other library in this country. Books and information are way too important, and nobody should be able to affect that negatively. And that's, thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate it, and have a great night.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment to the board? Okay, great. We will be closing the public comment period. And on behalf of the board, thank you for coming out and sharing your thoughts with us. We do appreciate everyone that spoke. And we will move to reports. Battleground Library branch report from Holland Christie.
Oh, the mic dropped up.
This is a lot. Okay, we got it though. All right. I don't usually speak in microphones unless, you know, I'm on top of a piano, but tonight we will do this. Okay. Okay. I want to thank you all for coming. I want to welcome you to the Battleground and the Yakult Library Express reports. I am so pleased to have you all here. Let's get started. Okay. So at a glance, we have been here a long time. In 1941, we were first served by a bookmobile. We had a couple other branches. They were not FVRL branches, but then in 1981, we were annexed to the FVRL libraries. And then in 2009, we opened here. And look at this, it's beautiful. In 2019, which is kind of typical for our library district, every 10 years we get a refresh. So we closed for new carpet, new paint, furniture upholstery, and rearranging of the children's area. And it's gorgeous. It's held up really, really well. You guys really like this slide. So I know you want to look at it a little bit longer. Huh? Yes, you can. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay, so I wanted to share this article from back before we had this new building. This was, I think, taken in 2008 or 2009. It was part of the argument for us getting our new building. And it was because our story times were bursting even then, and there was no parking. So there is a picture of our story times there at the old building. And I just want you to notice the gal reading the books because she will show up later. And then this is a picture of the first summer reading program we hosted after we opened our doors. As you can see, the need was there, and we embraced it. Thank you. This past year, we checked out over 223,000 items at 2 branches. And like I said, I represent both Battleground and Yakult. So these are 2 branches. We registered over 3,200 new cardholders. You can see the breakdown there. And we registered about 1,500 people for the summer reading program. I do want to point out this picture. This is my favorite room in the library. That fireplace there was donated by a local community or a local family called the Story Family, which I find very apropos. And that wreath above the fireplace is changed out seasonally thanks to my generous friends of the Battleground Library. So we couldn't do what we do without my amazing staff. I cannot tell you how much I respect and admire their dedication, their fun-loving attitude, their passion for the work that they do. It's really, really astonishing. So this is just 5 of them. In this branch, we have 17 staff, 3 supervisors, 4 SLAs, and then 10 PSAs who, will be honest, they keep the ball rolling. Those are just a few. Oh, wait. That is Genevieve up at the top right, and she has been with us for a very long time, 30 years. She's been giving story time to the residents of Battleground, and she's kind of a rock star. I will say she's had kids and then parents, and then they have kids. Everybody comes to see Genevieve. Some more of my amazing staff. What a good looking group. Some of them ham it up more than others. And there they are again. And sincerely, I admire these people so much. Okay, so I'm not going to give you a rundown of everything that we do because we'd be here all night. So I'm just going to give you a few highlights. But story time is definitely one of those highlights. We average, I would say, between 40 and 80 participants at our library story times at any time. We offer story times 4 days a week. And the only day we skip it is Monday. And on Monday, we offer something called the Monday Mixer, which is just an opportunity to families to come in and socialize and have their kids interact with our toys and such. So on the left there is a story time. On the right, I believe that is a baby story time. And then what I was referring to earlier, the left is a Monday Mixer, and then the right is a baby story time. They're so cute. Okay, one way we are unique to all the other libraries is that we have a very dedicated volunteer who will crochet library card holders for all of the kids who get a new library card. And we allow them to pick their style, whatever colors they want. It's a super fun way to get them engaged with their first library card. So that's a picture of 4 boys who just came in the other day. And they all were very particular about the library card holders they choose. And we just encourage them to either hang them on their doorknob or around their neck or whatever they want. We offer all sorts of family programs. That top right one was offered by HS Taekwondo, which is a local business, and they came in and offered free introduction to Taekwondo to kids. And then below that, we have Reese. He's famous around library worlds. He's an incredibly talented and witty guy, and he does some great stuff with juggling. And as you can see, he had quite the turnout. We had a pumpkin sensory program last October, which was very popular. And then we also offered a Lunar New Year celebration. And that particular program, we had over 150 people in this room. So that was a bit of a challenge, but luckily for us, we can open these doors and we can open those doors to allow for the overcapacity. But it was very popular and very fun. Other things we've done, that top left picture is the Traveling Day Drum Circle. And we've had them here probably quarterly over the past year. The bottom left is a craft program. We offer crafting programs for families, kids, adults, many, many times throughout the year. And then on the right, we have Peter Ali, which I know that Elizabeth mentioned at the Three Creeks presentation. He is a Native American flautist, and he was super engaging. Okay, so now not all of our programs are indoors. We do offer some outside programs, of course. This one was a partnership with the Audubon Society, and we took people on a bird walk. And I just really liked this note I received from somebody because she apparently got to see a warbler for the first time. I know nothing about birds. So this was exciting for her, and I just love it. I will say really quick, this Saturday, we're having a history walk in Battleground. So if any of you are interested, that's another program we have coming up. I don't have a slide for it because it hasn't happened yet, but please sign up. It's going to be super cool. Okay, so another thing we have is this really beautiful green space, in case you haven't noticed it, over there on the east side of our building, paid for again by our generous friends. And they also bought some really great engaging lawn games. So in the summer, we put out signs and we say, come lawn games today. We have a tent up usually, but we have giant Jenga. We have Connect 4. We have ladder golf. And I think we have something else. I'm waiting for one of my staff to yell at me, but story walks, we do have those too. But it is really, really popular and we love looking out. And that picnic table right there is right outside my office. That's also a brand new addition. And it's just really neat to see people out there using our space. And I've had many instances where I've looked out my window and I've seen somebody having a meeting outside my window. And I'm like, hello, I got to do it. So this past year, we also had the honor of hosting our Histories Mysteries display. And this one focused on the history of Battleground, the naming of Battleground, which was incredibly popular. And it was put on by the Friends of the Battleground Library. It's a beautiful display. It gets a lot of attention, and this year we got the Colombians' attention. And because we did, this happened. So the great granddaughter of Chief Umtouch reached out to me because she had read the article, and she was like, I just want to meet the people who put that research together and who put the display together. I'd love to meet them. I would love to come. I would love to meet you all. And so we made that happen. And this is just a couple of pictures. One of them, the left one, we have one of the creators of the display talking to the ancestors of Chief Umtouch, and then a picture in front of our fireplace. And as you can see, perhaps some of the great-grandchildren were not really wanting to be in the picture, but it makes me laugh. And I have a series of pictures where he's like, come on. And she just inches incrementally closer. She never gets too close, but yeah, I just love it. We had one big building project this year. We were able to extend our sidewalk through our green space. It wasn't connected before, so we were able to extend our sidewalk to allow for accessibility. We always had those handicap spots, as you can see, but there was no way for them to actually access our building without going through the parking lot. But we were able to get that that sidewalk extended so that they could go and access our library that way. That was huge. And I've had so many compliments. Just a couple other fun pictures for no reason, because I like them. We don't have curbside a lot anymore. I would say we have curbside appointments maybe twice a week, if that. But this lovely lady loves to take her kids in that little trolley to pick up her books. But rest assured, it is an electric bike, so she does not have to push all those kids up the hills. I did ask her, I'm like, how are you doing this? So it is electric. The right top, that's just one of our field trips. We have a ton of field trips, specifically in May and June, from local schools. And one of their favorite things is coming here and seeing our automated materials handler in action. It is like a rock star. They love to come back. So I just really wanted to show that. And then we also started up a nerdy social hour this past year, and we invited the 501st Legion. I will admit I'm ignorant to all this. So the 501st Legion are a group of people committed to Star Wars cosplay. And when I say committed, I mean time, energy, money, all the things. So they came and visited the library, and they delighted everybody by standing out on the sidewalk and waving to passerby. So that was really cool. I kind of liked it. I mean, I loved it. And then just another kind of funny, silly thing is that, of course, you all know we don't charge fines. We don't charge for overdue books, but I do get some funny letters occasionally. So I just wanted to share a couple. So there's one, but I really appreciated the one. Thank you, FVRL, for your gracious amnesty. I love that very much. And I have mentioned my Battleground friends because they're so incredibly supportive and I feel so lucky. And they make the bulk of their proceeds through this little bookstore that you've all passed when you came down here, the Ben's bookstore. They work so hard. They're, again, so supportive. I love them all, so I had to include them. And then we also have a great group of teen volunteers. This past year, I think we had 7 during the summer when they're bored. Teen volunteers come and help out at the library. Okay, so I said I was the manager of 2. Battleground is the bigger one, but Yakult is strong and mighty. So I want to focus on Yakult for a little bit. For those of you who don't know, Yakult Library Express is a small little library up in Yakult. It was primarily self-service for many years. We, Battleground, set staff up. But then in 2020, we were able to actually assign 2 staff there to work there 24 hours a week. So it's just kind of blossomed. As you see, it's been known for many things throughout the town's history, but I would argue the most famous thing is that it was the town jail. And we still do keep those jail cells in operation. I mean, why wouldn't we, right? Okay. That's the outside of the library, and that's just one image of a gorgeous display that they put on, and they do this all the time. Never cease to amaze me. And Yakult couldn't run without these 2 lovely ladies. That's Leslie and Pam. And that middle picture is just an example of what they often walk into on a Monday morning, which is basically overflowing bins. That the library, like I said, it's so small, but the circulation statistics supersede so many of our other libraries. They're just big families, lots of books. It's really lovely. So this past year, because we did see a need for a new children's space, we cleared out the front entry that you can see there. It was just basically kind of like a lobby. We had comfortable chairs, tables, that kind of thing, but Leslie saw a need for maybe something a little bit more interactive. So she proposed that we get some shelving out there and we actually make it a children's space. So we did that. Now you can see we've got shelving, we've got a crafting table, we've got all sorts of things. This past year, we also hosted all 7 classes from the 5th grade primary school. So that's a lot of kids and we don't have a lot of room, but we made it work. And when we can't make it work, we go outside, as you can see there, only in the nicer months, but the kids' favorite part of the tour are the jail cells. So I put them all in the jail cells and I had to take some pictures. So I have so many more. I made them cry. I made them weep. I was like, what are you going to do to get out of here? But I didn't share those with you. I thought I'd share the fun ones. And then just an example of the size of their kindergarten classroom, because they have large kindergarten classrooms. So there's a lot of kids. A couple improvements to Yakult this past year. We got new windows and the town of Yakult graciously repainted the parking lot area because that was looking really awful and nobody knew where to park. So it's very nice. It's a great partnership. And as I mentioned, the Battleground Friends, I would be remiss to not mention the Yakult Friends as well. I took this picture probably 4 or 5 years ago, and it just made me laugh because it's the exact same group of people. And they would probably enjoy seeing their younger selves right there. So they're like, all right, keep it. And then of course I had to show the view leading to the cells because that is the most famous part of the Yakult Library. So that concludes my presentation. I just want to thank you all for being here and for supporting us. We're just thrilled to serve all of you and to be part of these lovely and vibrant communities. And I just have to say that at the end of it all, love really wins.
Thank you, Holland. Does anyone have any questions or? No? All right, public services report, Ruth Schaefer.
Well, I'm not going to pretend that I'm prepared for this because I walked into this meeting and looked at the agenda and found out I was on it. So I apologize, but you won't have the usual slideshow that goes with Ruth's Dog and Pony Show. I do have my board report in my hand, so I apologize that I'm going to be looking at it. I am Ruth Schaefer. I'm the Public Services Director. It's an interim position because I really am the White Salmon Valley Community Librarian. I share the same role that Holland has, and she just did such a beautiful job talking about what goes on at the Battleground Library. I could have just said, and that happens at all of our libraries, because it really does. I just wanted to share a few highlights from my report. As you know, our mission is to strengthen our communities through knowledge, experience, and creativity, and our strategic goals are to focus on equity, connections, partnerships, and staff innovation. So I just want to talk a little bit about all of those things. Actually, Holland already took care of the mission. She already showed us enhancing the community through knowledge, experience, and creativity. So thank you, Holland, and your team in both communities. And I love the jail cell. I did spend time in it when I was up in Yakult. But I wanted to just share a few things. In addition to overseeing the public libraries, I also work with the Outreach and Community Partnership Department, and that includes the volunteer department. And I wanted to read, it's a little bit long, but I wanted to read something that was sent to us from our volunteer coordinator, Sherry Braga, because I think she hits almost all of our marks right here in this paragraph. She says 9 interns through a service learning program called YES and hosted by ESD 112 worked with our volunteer coordinator, Sherry Braga. These students have disabilities but are eager to learn. They all got their library cards, most of them for the first time, hurrah, and checked out a lot of material. As part of the internship, they read the award-winning graphic novel When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. We also arranged for their first ever gorge tour, where they were able to tour Stevenson, North Bonneville, Washougal, and White Salmon. Hang on a second, if there's more. No, but where's Basil Island? Here we are. They went to those libraries, and in White Salmon, they participated in a photo shoot with other volunteers. We had lunch at the Bonneville Dam, which most coming from marginalized situations had never been to, and awe and wonder on their face while watching the salmon was priceless. We did a weekly check-in with the group, and they helped at individual branches with volunteer-related tasks at Battleground, Cascade Park, Ridgefield, and Woodland. So all of them toured at least 6 libraries throughout August. On their last day, we did a mini tour of the new OC, and they were wowed by the trucks that facilities showed them and the printing machines and graphics. They finished their summer with a whole new view of libraries. Their confidence roared after coming in very unsure of themselves, uncertain of what kind of people would be at the library, which they found out were quite nice people, and feeling timid about a brand new experience. By the wrap up, they felt that they could do anything. I think that little story about these teen volunteers really shows what libraries do. People think that as librarians, we check books in and out, we sit around and read all day, but the fact is we find as many ways as we possibly can to help people's lives grow, find ways to make new connections in our community, and to really better ourselves. So I just wanted to really point that out through our volunteer coordinator. We did many things at our libraries throughout the past couple of months. Usually I would have a slideshow saying we did this, we did this, we did this, but let me just tell you, we did it all. From baby story time in the park to grown-up programs that are book discussion groups or English conversation circles. We've brought back our Spanish conversation circle at this point. We're just doing a whole lot of things in our public libraries. I'm not going to take a lot of time because I'm really not prepared, and I apologize. Next time you see me, I promise it'll be a slideshow. I'll be hilarious. I won't have to compete with Holland, though, who's hilarious in her own right. But I did want to take a minute just to talk about 2 thank yous that we got this year. These both came at the end of summer reading. The first one was at our Three Creeks Library. It says it's a picture of a family that they sent their must have been like their Christmas card or something. And it says, "Thank you so much for a summer full of events and story times. You filled our days with joy, learning, love, structure, and routine. We made amazing memories. Thank you." That's the Three Creeks Library. The second story started at the Three Creeks Library about 12 years ago because the employee they're talking about used to work at the Three Creeks Library. This comes from White Salmon. Our teen Summer at Your Library winner used to be a participant in my baby story time at Three Creeks, but moved here a few years ago with his family. He didn't remember me, but the mom was so excited to discover me here. This was his first year being eligible for teen prizes, and he was so excited. His mom also just shared that they are still close with a family that they met in baby story time, and recently had a big camping trip together. Connections. We work really hard at connections. There's a lot of talk at this board meeting about the bad things we have done, or what people tell us are the bad things, but I'd really like y'all to focus on all the wonderful stuff we do every single day. There's about 250 people who come to work every day at your library, and we're here for the better of the community. And I really appreciate the continued support for the library district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. July financial statements, Atar. I hope you have a really exciting slideshow.
All right, sorry, no slideshow tonight. But I do have financial statements. Starting with the July statement of cash. At the end of July, year-to-date revenues were at $16.4 million, and year-to-date expenditures were $17.7 million. Cash balance was at $19.4 million. And then moving to the statement of revenues. Property tax revenue for July totaled $130,000. Year-to-date is at 57% of budget. July leasehold excise tax was $512. July state forest boards revenue, that was $1,500. July charges for services brought in $4,700. Moving down to miscellaneous, under investment interest revenue, July investment interest revenue was $44,900. That line is tracking high. Total July revenue was $192,000. Year-to-date budget percentage for total operating revenue was 52.42%, and total revenue was 48%. Statement of expenses. At the end of July, we would expect expenses to be right around 58.33% of the budget. July personnel costs were $1.4 million, with year-to-date at 55% of budget, compared to 52.7% same time last year. Running lower than budget due to 24 open positions. Supplies and small equipment for the month of July was $97,000, with year-to-date at 34%. Library books and materials activity was $190,000, with year-to-date at 44%. Under other services charges, professional services came in at $132,000, with repair and maintenance at $48,000. Utilities and communications were both $32,000 for July. Repair and maintenance and communications are tracking high. Under capital outlay had $607,000 of activity in July under operating expenditures. Total July operating expenditures were $2.63 million, and grand total expenditures were $2.64 million. Year-to-date budget percentage for total expenditures is at 52%. Questions? Yes. It's really been the latter during my time. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So moving on to the consent agenda, we have the minutes from our August 21st meeting and the expenditures approval, which Penny reviewed this month.
I did. I got to see the new operations center. I got a nice tour because I got there a little bit early. It was wonderful to see all of it. I reviewed everything and the August expenditures, and I found them all to be in order.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented? Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Okay, Rhonda, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Olga Hodges,
Aye.
Marie Coffey,
Aye.
Penny Love Hensley,
Aye.
Mary Ann Duncan Cole,
Aye.
and Megan Dugan.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Next order is business secretary of the board expectations. And this is just a discussion. Let's see, my understanding is that this was put on the agenda because we had a change to our past practice, which was that Rhonda takes the minutes during our meeting, and then the executive director was reviewing in detail all of the minutes taken at the meeting.
That's my understanding, Co-Chair Dugan.
Okay, so the discussion is whether we can take that off the plate of the executive director and have the board secretary be responsible for the review of the minutes going forward. So this isn't anything to vote on, it's just for discussion. As secretary, do you have anything you'd like to say, Marianne?
To be honest, I was a little horrified. I spent 28 years doing minutes for a small city within the district, and it's a burden, and I'm not real excited about the task. Hopefully, all you're asking is for me to just review them, and I do have a habit of taking notes, so that is going to be a backup. But no, I'm not excited about it.
Sorry, I think that Rhonda is still the official minutes taker of the board meetings, and that this would just be a review before they go into the board packet.
Somebody changed the definition and description of this position in the future, though.
Do not include minutes.
The reverse.
Noted. Marianne, it's not intended to be a onerous burden, but I would like to get some more ownership of the trustees over the minutes of their meetings.
Oh, Olga, please go ahead.
I have a question. Is it within the secretary's role to amend or modify the minutes that are received from Rhonda?
My perception would be that if I got those minutes, I would note anything that maybe was missing from my notes. How you wanted to then deal with that. It seems like it's a board priority, but maybe there were small like spelling errors or something like that that could be corrected. So I'm not sure. How does that sound to you, fellow board members?
Well, I think that you can do a review of it and, like you say, correct things or additions if we left something out.
Can I speak up?
Please.
Hey, so I think one of the reasons we're modifying this is because there was a process that we were not necessarily aware of, and we certainly didn't consent to previously, where the minutes were being grossly manipulated and information was sometimes left out or changed. And so that's why we are wanting to have the minutes go to the secretary instead of to the director and then to us. And so if there is information that you find needs to be completely edited or removed, or you object to, or something was really left out, I think we should consider crafting an email, just again, just getting eyes on that, because we don't want to experience that situation again. Does that make sense?
I'll do my best, and you can always fire me.
We'll dock your pay.
I think it's gonna go great. Rhonda takes fantastic notes from what I know. She has history taking notes for Battleground City Hall or something like that. So very qualified, great detail, and hopefully it just has to be a quick check from Marianne, and then the rest of us get to view it. So I appreciate you guys having the discussion.
Okay, thank you. Any other remarks or discussion about our new expectations of Marianne? Thank you. Thank you for being willing to do that. Next on the agenda, foundation relationship and MOU discussion. And are you leading this portion of the discussion, or is Penny doing this?
I was going to do it, but I'm not reading this verbatim. You
Okay.
have a staff report in your board packet
Excellent.
that you can read, but in summary, I've met with the executive director of the foundation last week. We have committed to weekly meetings where we will elevate library district priorities and begin the process of hopefully collaborating on getting the MOU to a place where both parties could agree to it. We have committed to meet every single week going forward. We would like to coordinate actions around fundraising for capital projects. As you know, we have two high priorities for the library district. I'll move closer to the microphone. Our two largest priorities for the system right now include getting the Woodland project completed, which is scheduled to be taking place at some point in late 2024. Immediately after that, we need to get serious about providing Washougal with the library that they have needed for so long. So these conversations that I will be having with the executive director of the foundation will be focused on getting the MOU written and making sure that the priorities of the district are recognized. I received word from the executive director last week. The executive director of the foundation has let us know that the $2 million Department of Commerce grant for the Woodland project has been approved. And that is exactly the kind of priorities, the focus that the library district and the foundation going forward will be working on together. So in sum, I would like some time to try to normalize and stabilize the relationship before the FVRL Board of Trustees works on passing a formal board level foundation policy. I am not going to say that I have superpowers in this regard, but I feel that between Rick and myself, we can reach some agreements as time goes on.
Thank you, Justin, and thank you, Rick. Any further discussion from the board?
Actually, I'm delighted to hear that you're having weekly meetings and that grant has been approved. That's a wonderful thing for foundation and the library working together.
Okay, so we will move on to staff report 2023-42 surplus outreach cart. Justin.
This has been a day I've been looking forward to for a long time. I will not give you the backstory on this, but we have a cart that was designed for outreach purposes that is broken. The vendor that provided us the cart is unable to repair it, nor is our facilities department able to repair it. It is currently housed at the old operations center and it needs to be dispensed with one way or the other. I would like the board's approval to mark it as surplus, which would then allow us to sell it for market value, if any.
Do you have any photographs of the cart in question?
No, but I can bring it to the next board meeting in the center if you'd like to see it. I can describe it in detail.
No, that won't be necessary. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution as presented, surplusing the outreach cart that is broken?
So moved.
Was there a second?
Seconded.
Is there any discussion? All right, Rhonda, could we please have a roll call vote?
Mary Ann Duncan Cole.
A.
Penny Love Hensley.
Aye.
Marie Coffey.
Aye.
Olga Hodges.
Aye.
And Megan Dugan.
Aye. Motion to surplus the broken outreach cart passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, trustees.
All right, so we are at the board comments portion of the meeting. Would anyone like to make a comment?
I would like to thank our librarian, Holland Christian, for the wonderful report. I enjoyed seeing all the activities that took place here and outreach, particularly summer programs, and also to Ruth Schaefer, the report that we had in our packet and looking at all the activities and new people that we've been reaching. Thank you so much for the job you're doing. I appreciate it.
Olga, go ahead.
Hey, I wanted to say thanks, Holland, for the great presentation. I really feel like you set a really fantastic example and are doing so many amazing things at your two branches. I really appreciate your leadership style and am also wanting to say thank you to Goldendale Library for letting me do a meeting here with you guys all, with all of you guys after hours. So just really appreciate our staff coming together and coordinating and helping things work out.
Any other comments? I was able to visit the Cascade Park Library this last weekend and see their newly remodeled courtyard, which was very cool, with a fairy garden and a tiny little free library in the fairy garden. So that was fun. And I wanted to say thank you to everyone involved in that, facilities, friends, branch staff. It was a great experience. So we will have our next regular meeting Monday, October 16th at the La Center Library and on Zoom. And is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved. Seconded.
Okay, thank you very much. And the meeting is adjourned, unless there's any discussion or objection. No, thank you.